Welcome back to Andertons TV, everybody.
Hello.
Acoustic Ben is here, which is a joy. And we're looking at a new little acoustic amplifier from the wonderful people at Boss.
Yes, the AC-22LX it's a bit different to other acoustic amps that we've looked at before, or that have been around before, I think, in as much as it has some technology in there they call airfeel.
So I think the context of this video is going to be a bit of a deep dive into what this does. And then at the end of it, or the second half of the video, is going to be looking at some other similar size, similar priced acoustic amplifiers and trying to decide where the Boss sits. Is it really a direct competitor for one of these things, or is it its own kind of vibe? Now, the reason we're sort of saying that is my first reaction to the AC-22 when I saw it, based off of its price and how it looked, I just assumed it was going to be like, you know, up against something like little Blackstar Sonnet 60, and we've got the Fishman Loudbox, and we've got a little Bugera thing down here as well. But it's not really that, is it?
It's not. It's for a start, it's only 10 watts. It's a stereo amp, so it's two kind of 5-watt amps that take care of the left and right. It's got two inputs, like the rest of them. One you can use for microphone with phantom power. It's got the guitar input. But the guitar input has got this knob on the end, which is for the airfeel. And the whole point of the airfeel is it's supposed to emulate the sound of your guitar when it's being mic'd, as opposed to just the pickup sound. So you've got the dry option, which is just the pickup going straight through. Then I think you're kind of basically moving through microphone positions. So your XY position is when you've got your mics positioned like that to pick up the stereo image. AB is when they're a little bit further apart. The ORTF, which is the Office Radiodiffusion Télévision Française, excuse my pronunciation, which is like a French broadcaster's national kind of way of miking things for a stereo image. And then lastly, you've got the mid side, the MS, which is another kind of traditional way of miking things for a stereo image for broadcasts. But it's different ways of making a stereo sounding guitar, really. Is
it fair to say that whereas the ones we've got on the floor here, the slightly louder ones, you know, when you're up at sort of 50, 60 watts, these would be something you might want to go and perform with. So whether this becomes everything that the audience hears, or whether this becomes an onstage monitor and they hear a DI, it's still a performance thing. This at 10 watts falls into that slightly weird acoustic guitar category of like a home use acoustic guitar amp. But then you're sort of going, well, if you've got an acoustic guitar that makes a noise anyway, why do you need to amplify that? So I suppose that's
it's I think where they're coming I think where they're coming from with it is it's the kind of, if you've got your high-end acoustic guitar, like, you know, this is a lovely Loudon, which has got a really nice LR Baggs Anthem pickup in it. If you want to kind of immerse yourself in the sound of your guitar, you can plug into this. I really like it with headphones, because then you get the full kind of stereo thing. It's got the rhythm track in there, so you can practice onto that. It's got a looper that you can get with, like, if you access the, you know, with a pedal. You can Bluetooth music to it if you get the kind of optional dongle. And it's just a way of, like, kind of losing yourself in your acoustic guitar sound.
It is probably a new and slightly unique product category, isn't it, for this sort of product? All right, well, look, let's take you through these airfeel modes.
Sure.
Sounds like airfield, doesn't it?
It does a bit,
Plains land. Hopefully you can see knobs on overhead cam. I was surprised, actually, this is not a loud 10 watts. You know, we are very much running this probably, you know, 2/3 of the way to maximum, just to feel like we've got some volume in a fairly normal size room. In fact, just to get it to the point where it's louder than the guitar is not plugged in.
Right. I mean, this is a loud acoustic guitar, but even so,
Okay, so here's our dry mode. So you are hearing some reverb from the amplifier, but you're not hearing any sense of like mic emulation.
Yeah, so this is just the pickup.
It's a great sound. Obviously, we've picked a lovely guitar with a decent system in here, but it's still, I suppose it's got, pickups have a certain sound, don't they?
The high frequency stuff for me, that's where you can really tell the pickup.
What I think we'll do is, whilst you're just playing, I'll just do some simple chord change, whatever. We're going to go from through dry, XY, AB, ORTF, and mid-side as I click through, and perhaps we'll annotate on screen which mode we're on. But yeah, if you just do some open chords and stuff, I'm probably left underwhelmed is maybe a bit unfair, but almost like, why would I want to? You know, I went through that and I went, do you know what? The dry sounded okay. Dry sounded how I wanted to. The A/B sounded like it was better than the dry, which is good, and the other three mic positions sounded worse than the dry. Well, I'm a bit like, what are we trying to achieve here?
Well, because I've had this for a couple of weeks and I've played with it a bit, and I've tried it with a bunch of different guitars with a load of different pickup systems on them, and I've found that depending on the type of pickup, the type of guitar, and also the style of music that I'm playing, the mic positioning, the air feel, knob, you can move it to different places, because it's essentially, it is kind of adding or changing the EQ of the guitar, and adding a bit of space with some reverb and stuff. And yeah, depending on brighter guitars, something sounded
Well, that's a fair point, isn't it? So different guitars, different pickup systems, not just guitars. I mean, any acoustic instrument, I guess.
You can use any stringed instrument with it. And it's got, the good thing is it's got memories as well. So each one of the microphone or the airfield settings has got 3 different memories. So you can store it for 3 different guitars and stuff.
Oh, okay. And you mentioned there was an app as well for this that you can use on your phone Bluetooth. Is that the sort of thing, again, that you can mess around with mic positions and stuff? Or the EQ on the...
change... So this has got the optional Bluetooth expander thing on the back, which you need to use the app.
Right.
The app is pretty good. It's available in, I think it's iOS and Android. I've got it in. What you can do with it, I've got it here.
Oh, you've got it there, look.
Let's
screen
record this, hold on. You can come in and you can adjust all the settings you can on the...
very reminiscent of a Katana app. I don't know whether you use that, but obviously the parameters and the stuff are different, but the whole look and feel
the look of it, it's very straightforward to use. Like, you can Bluetooth it. Usefully, you can pad the mic input on here, which you can't do on the front of there. But when you get into the effects settings, in the reverb here, you can go in and adjust all of the things. So it's
not really about changing mic placement emulation, it's more about just being able to adjust the effects to a greater depth.
It's adjusting the effects. You can save and reorder your presets. Of course. In there as well, you've got the kind of control. You can select what the different foot switches do. If you've got the optional Bluetooth module, then you can use all of the Boss kind of wireless Bluetooth MIDI controller, so you can add in an expression pedal for volume and things. So if you do want to use it for gigging, and use all of the kind of front end stuff, you totally can.
No, that's cool. I mean, there's not, like you say, there's not a bucket load of extra functionality in here. I was sort of half expecting to see a little way of moving microphones and all that kind of stuff. But it's cool.
I was hoping there'd be some kind of different routing options and stuff in there for if you wanted to use it for things. But
I think that might be... Anyway, I'm still sort of trying to get my head around who is... I think you're right. I think, the little tone wood thing that you can put on the back of your guitar to get that...
Yes.
I almost feel like it's like the next obvious step up from that, isn't it? So it's not about a performance thing. It's and I think you used the word immersive at the beginning. This is about getting your basic acoustic guitar that you've got at home and just making it sound more like on a record or something like that, with some miking and some reverb and all that sort of stuff.
And for practice and stuff, it's great because you've got the looper and the kind of rhythm box in there. So you can you can use it for practice with your headphones on,
right.
getting the stereo sound, and it's a nice way to lose yourself in your acoustic guitar for a bit.
We've gone through the air feel mode. There is a 3-band EQ on here. Let's have a look at some of the reverb as well, and then we'll go over to the patterns and the looper as well. Without the app plugged in, what we've got here is the first half of the reverb control just brings in reverb, and the second half brings in reverb and chorus. So let's have for the opening demo, we always had the reverb at about a quarter of the way up. So let's just see what happens as we bring in more. It's a really, you can't escape the fact, you could escape the fact perhaps with headphones, but you can't escape the fact that what you're actually hearing is always the guitar on its own and the guitar coming through here. I suppose if you had perhaps one of those Yamaha silent guitars or something like this, you might get that. So you're always, to a certain extent, I find anyway, I'm trying to get the volume and the effects setting right with a blend of the guitar as well. And actually what you're hearing is just the DI out of here. So and I think, I said to Ben before we started doing this video, I think this will be a bit of a challenge because this amplifier is clearly about achieving a sound in a room. Yeah. But of course you're hearing just the DI output from here. So you're hearing it in your room, not in our room, and you're not hearing the noise that this guitar is making in the room as well. So it's quite a challenge.
But then I find when I've been using it that because of that, you end up kind of adjusting the amp to be a thing that does just kind of enhance
and that's what it
the
is,
sound
isn't
of your guitar in the room. So like you can add the bit of brightness, the little bit of stereo spread, especially if you kind of sat right in front of it.
Yeah.
And
I really do. I think that's what it is. It is an unusual one because I think it's not aimed at a performer in a gig scenario in a way that some of these are. I think it's very much aimed at someone that enjoys playing acoustic guitar at home and just wants to elevate that experience.
I mean, but having said that, it does have, it's got the kind of the stereo outputs and things. So you could take it on a gig, you could use the live looper and use the app to go through your set list or whatever.
I don't think this would ever be loud enough to monitor yourself, though, would it?
It would have to be a pretty quiet coffee house gig to be a monitor. But if you wanted to use the air feel and the other bits that are in there and basically use this as a kind of fancy DI box.
Yeah. All right. Well, look. So we're not going to demonstrate the microphone channel, but just so that you can see, you can sing and play guitars simultaneously. You've got volume, bass and treble and separate reverb for that channel. You've got phantom power if you need that for the mic that you're using. We are going to look at the rhythm box because that's a bit different and a bit of fun. It's not a conventional drum machine in here. It very much feels like they're rhythms and accompaniments chosen for an acoustic player. So we've got all kinds of more of a Latin feel. We've got cajons, congas, shakers, tambourines, that kind of vibe. Yeah. There are 3 variants to each one, so we might as well just whiz through these.
Sure.
I can obviously adjust the tempo. Oh, that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Oh my word, yeah, my inner Barry Manilow's coming out here. The drums sound all right.
Again, and on headphones, you get a bit more, and it's for practice. It's it's a bit more fun than a metronome, maybe, but
for sure. What we did notice with this was if you use the patterns in conjunction with a looper, so you've got a standalone looper on here, but if you use them in conjunction with a pattern, it'll sync the pattern to the loop as well, so you don't get that annoying sense of, if you've ever used a drum machine and a looper separately, that even if you're just 100th of a millisecond out, like by the time you're 20 bars in, you're completely out of whack with it. So let's just show people the looper. So
Sure.
the foot switch you have to buy as an optional extra.
Yeah, you can use, this is a Boss one obviously, but you can use any dual foot switch. Yeah, one of them does and again, in the app, if you've got the Bluetooth module, you can change what the foot switches do.
Right.
But as standard, they're set up with the rhythms on one and the looper on,
All right.
on the other.
So let's just do a loop with no rhythm for
Sure.
the time being so that we can... Okay, it's very much like a single button looper that you would buy separately, so all your sort of double tapping to start and all that, and all that kind of stuff, and clear the loops. It's infinite overdubbing, so you can build up bigger loops if you want to.
90 seconds in mono, I think, total recording time.
It doesn't have a separate volume for the loop, which is a bit of a fail, but I suppose all it means you've got to do is record the loop with your guitar slightly turned down, and then you can turn up if you want to noodle over the top of it, so it's not too bad. If we do the same thing with the drums, it would appear, unless there's some undiscovered mode I haven't found here, that you've got to start the drums, then loop over the top of the drums, and then once you've got the loop going, it syncs the drums to it. So let's just show you that. And then you got to stop the drums separately as well. Anyway, you can have a lot of fun, I'm sure, with this. Nothing else to really tell you. It does look nice. It's got this kind of wooden, sort of almost like a rosewood open pore wooden finish. It's very small and very light.
It's very small. You can use it as it's got USB interface option on there as well.
Headphones, if you want to. As we said on the back here, you've got your line outputs. So yeah, I suppose you could gig it if you wanted. What's that other little thing here? Oh, it's USB. Yeah, and then we've got the foot switch plugged in.
Yeah.
It's got a switch called loop back that nobody knows what it does, so that'll be on screen now. It's got a USB output, the little Bluetooth. I'll show you this way actually here. That this is the little Bluetooth module that you would buy as an optional extra. You can run this on batteries or power supply. This is where we've got our foot switch plugged in, and this is how you're hearing it through the DI. So there we are. Like I say, that's crazy light. Almost feels like it's nothing in it.
Yeah.
Now, I think given how long it's taken us to get to this point and how busy all you people are, we'll just literally plonk Sonnet, Loudbox and the Bugera on top, have a little listen, and then we'll just, when we get to the very end, we'll do like a final, so why might you choose to buy this as opposed to one of these?
It's a lot louder.
You got the quick, like 20 seconds. It sounds bigger. It's clearly much louder, and sounds good.
They're good. I mean, as I was just saying, I've got the bigger version of this, the Sonnet 120 at home that I use for gigging. I'm really impressed with it. It does, it just makes your guitar louder. It's practical for gigging. It's loud enough for monitoring.
Hasn't got any of the like changing the mic thing. You've just got the shape, like the different kind of EQ setting.
Kind of mid-contour type
Slightly
thing.
more pro on the DI out. It's got an XLR output. Although mono, obviously not a stereo amplifier. Same idea, 2 channels, so you can put a mic in one, guitar in the other. But yeah, I mean, for me, doesn't do as much as the AC-22, but is louder and sounds better.
Yeah, no, I mean, for gigging, definitely, but for home use, rehearsal stuff, that's it.
much the same feeling as I had about the Sonnet, really.
Yeah.
It's obviously louder than the than the Boss.
Very much so.
But not just louder, but bigger, fuller sounding.
I think it's the low end, isn't it? They've both got a lot more low end because they've got bigger drivers in them. So.
Yeah, I totally forgot to mention the fact that the Sonnet has a Bluetooth functionality.
Yeah.
The Fishman Loudbox is available with Bluetooth, which is what this is. You can buy a Loudbox Mini without the Bluetooth. Yeah. In both the Sonnet and the Fishman, it's got nothing to do with pairing an app to it. It's just to do with streaming music through it if you want to. I prefer the reverb on the Fishman to the Blackstar. That's probably a personal thing, but you know, and you get the added option of a chorus if you want to sound like you're in the 80s, which of course was the best decade ever. But yeah, Fishman, probably one of the best known amp brands for acoustic guitar amplifiers and acoustic pickups. But there you go, little Loudbox Mini. Last one.
Next up.
Well, I mean, this is the cheapest one, by the way.
Yep.
It's as loud, I think, as the Sonnet or the Fishman, but perhaps tonally not as clear, not as articulate as the other two.
I would say, yeah, that's a fair,
it's got loads of features on it. We got lots more effects and stuff on here, more ins and outs, effects loops, tuner outputs, line out. Obviously, we've got line outputs. But we're using the DI output here. I still kind of feel like as a straight price shootout, it almost is a bit pointless including the Boss.
It's a very different
it's like not,
thing, isn't it? It's I kind of struggled working out who it was for when I was playing it, but then the more I played it, the more fun I did have with it. Like, kind of once I settled into the fact that you could, put headphones on, put the looper on, get the rhythms going, for practice and stuff, it was great.
You know what? Yeah. Sorry, I only cut across you there because if I don't, I'll forget what I was going to say. I think you've got to get your mindset into the whole like Yamaha THR, Boss Katana Air, Positive Grid Spark. It's like nobody buys one of those amplifiers, spends £300 or £400 on it, and then complains you can't gig with it. Yeah, that's because they didn't buy it for that. They just bought it to play at home.
Exactly.
And I just sort of think that's the mindset that you've got to be in with this. I mean, yes, it's battery powered, and you might be able to take it to a friend's party and make a bit of a noise and sing through it and all that kind of stuff, but not in a professional gigging kind of capacity. And maybe that's just what it is. It's been crazy. I've got to say as well, it's been really popular. This came out about a month ago, and we've sold more of these in that last month than the other three put together. So clearly,
I think the thing like these other three, their primary function is to make your guitar a lot louder, isn't it?
Yes.
Whereas that one's primary function is to make your guitar sound more kind of inspiring to you, and not really worry about
home environment.
In a small home environment, like in a home, headphones, wherever you are, just to kind of add an extra dimension to your guitar sound.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish this unbelievably long acoustic demo and just say thank you very much for watching. I hope it has been useful. Links will be below to all of these products. Ben, you're a legend.
It's a pleasure. Nice to see you.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.